Okay, I think that's it. I think we're live.
Oh,
Hi,
hi.
nice to see you. So I'm Lynn from Masami, and I'm with Emily from Mama's Medicinals. Okay, I think that's it. I think we're live.
Oh,
I always
Hi.
screw this up. Sorry, hold on. There we go. I always have to mute it on my end, otherwise it does that. Your dogs are having a. So wait, so you've got
Don't even play
two,
that often.
or do you have more than
I
two?
have one and I'm dog sitting and
Oh,
I've had them for a week and they barely ever play. They want to play right now.
no, that's quite all right. I've got one too. See, he's right here.
Oh yeah.
He
Aw,
hangs out with me every day.
he's a cuddler.
Oh God, yes. Although we were dog sitting yesterday and we had this lab over, and Dino is so alpha. He was just like, I'm gonna dominate you. And he's 20 pounds. And it was this very large lab who, thank God, was like, okay, you can dominate me. I'm fine with that. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, this is interesting. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that, even though I could talk about that all day. We're going to dive into your journey and your story, which I think is amazing. And really, it's all about self care and wellness. And I think you've got a great sort of reason for being. And so I want to hear more and I want you to share with everyone else because I think once people really understand, people are going to need to have your products because they're so good.
Aw, thank
So
you.
why don't you just start by telling us a little bit of what inspired you and how this all came about?
Okay, so I went to herbal school in 2008 and I realized that my mom wasn't crazy. I thought my mom was like a crazy lady that was making potions, trying to make us drink them. And then I realized that maybe she knew more of what she was doing than I realized.
Okay. I wish all kids would have that realization about their parents, but yeah, they will get there.
Yeah, so I grew up around it, but I didn't completely understand it until I went to herbal school. And then I was really getting into making different products and healthcare and from taking stuff internally to topically. And I made a healing salve that was helping a bunch of like people, helping my family, and I was using it all the time. And we started using it on all different things. We were experimenting on, burns and
Mm.
wounds, even, and arthritis and chapped lips and all these things. And you could use it on anything. It was like this cool cream that you can use on anything. And there's a lot of people who have a cream that can be used that way. But what makes it unique is that we live in Northern California, and so we wild harvest a lot of the herbs that we use, and they're Native American herbs, and we cold infuse them. So it's a 6-week process where we fill up a jar with the herbs, and then we infuse it. For our salve, we use organic olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks, we stir it every once in a while, and then we strain it, and then we make it into a salve by adding beeswax and vitamin E, and then essential oils. Anyways, we do that with a lot of different herbs and oil mixtures now, but back then, not much has changed from the original recipe, and we've been doing that. I started my business in 2011 with just the salve. And anyone who started a business or even just life, like you think that like something's going to go one way and then it ends up, there's so many, you can never expect what the future has in store, and there's so many twists and turns the business has taken. I could
Yeah.
have never imagined the road that I've had for 11 years if I
Yeah.
wanted to. But I thought it was just going to be that one product, and then we now have 11 products, so it's expanded slowly over time, and we've had products that didn't work. And the reason I thought it would just be the one, because I like to make other things as a hobby, but it was so much effort into branding, and I wanted to just stay focused on the one thing. But then I would want to brand something else because I loved it and I wanted the world to be able to try it. But we used to have like a toothache poultice. It was like a powder, and you would make it into a poultice
Oh,
and put it on a toothache.
yeah,
That would
cool.
not sell very well because not very many people have toothaches or think to put a poultice on it.
Right. True. But if you do, it's amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then we made a CBD lube, and I realized, oh, like we make toothpaste, we make a toothpaste powder,
Hmm.
and you can make a toothpaste powder. And I didn't think it, you don't have to have any special FDA um, certificates or anything, even though you're putting it in your mouth. But for lube, you do, because it's taken internally.
Yeah, sure.
So that was a bummer. So after like creating a whole new product with the label and everything, realizing, oh, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'm sure I could if I wanted to, but I haven't had like enough positive feedback about it to go that road. So anyways, there's been a lot of trial and error, and it's been 11 years now that we've been doing Mama's Medicinals, and we've had a lot of hardships with CBD, just being blocked. We were recently blocked from Instagram and had to create a new Instagram account. It was Mama's Medicinals, and then they said they were going to block us, but they never did. They said they gave us 1 month. So then we created Mama's Medicinals skincare, and then they're not closing the other one. And I'm like, I'm going to close the old one because you're not supposed to have two. And they gave me a month to get everyone over. I got half the people over. That's just one example of how hard CBD skincare has been.
Oh my God, there's so many things that you just brought up that we got to dig into a little because it's fascinating. Well, first of all, congrats on 11 years. That's absolutely amazing because look, I'm a fairly new founder. My business is 2 years old, and a lot of the other Conscious Beauty Collective founders are also pretty new. So it's great for us to see you because you made it, you're successful, you're doing it, you're living it. So that's very inspiring and that's amazing. But I want to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff you said. First of all, you talk about how you wild harvest. Can you explain what that means? And if it means what I think it means, do you ever have a situation where you can't find the ingredients?
Okay, so we wild harvest means, well, I live in the country, so it's very rural, and my family's from around here. There's 13 siblings, but not all from my same mom and dad, but we have 3 moms and 3 dads. It's a really big family.
Wow.
I have 6 from my mom and dad, but then with all the moms and dads and all the kids, and we all still get together regularly. It's a very big ordeal, and a lot of them own large pieces of property. So it's not uncommon to own 100 acres or 40 acres. So one of my moms, not my birth mom, but the other one of the other ones, she wild harvests a ton of St. John's wort. And some people would consider it a weed, as most herbs. And it's an herb that grows wild in Northern California. You might even see it. I don't know how far south it goes, honestly. Mm-hmm. And it grows along the sides of the roads a lot and the highways. And it's bright yellow. It's blooming this time of the year. I wish I had some here to show you. And it's really easy to pick, but sometimes people will over harvest it or they'll mow it and then it will not come back as well over time. Mm-hmm. But my family does the opposite, and they just harvest like half of it and they leave the rest. And then when it's all dry at the end of the year, they like shake it into the ground and they never mow it. Like, they're very good about growing it. So they actually are wild harvesting it on their own land, the St. John's wort. And then some things just grow along riverbeds as well. And so it's literally like going out to a remote area.
Yeah.
Yeah, not on a road. You don't want to harvest on a road, and like walking up and down a river and like picking herbs. But as we've expanded, it's not 100% wild harvested herbs, and we grow some herbs too. And then if we don't have enough, we buy from Mountain Rose Herbs in Oregon, and they have an abundance, and they're a really great company, and it's all organic.
Now that is like a whole new way of owning your supply chain, which is just fascinating, actually. So here I'm in Massachusetts, I'm also in the country because I'm in the Berkshires, but I have a friend who's really into foraging, and we will go out and do ramps, which are delicious, by the way. And she does mushrooms, which I don't totally trust. But I let her do the mushrooms. But it's really amazing if you have that knowledge, what you can find that's basically just all around you. There's actually a group of people when I lived in New York City that would actually forage in Central Park.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like, you would think you wouldn't be able to do that, but there's actually like an abundance of stuff there, apparently, which I think is really interesting. All right. Talk more a little bit about cold fusion, why that's better. Because not everybody does that. So that's an interesting process too.
Yeah. So when you soak the herbs in the oil for extended period of time, the herbs almost decompose a little bit. It looks completely different when you put it in to when you take it out. It's like making sauerkraut out of cabbage. If the longer it sits, it'll almost get mushy, but we like it crunchy. But it will change color, and basically the essences of the plant gets into the oil. It will change color. Especially with St. John's wort, it turns red actually from a yellow flower. It's pretty cool, and you can smell it. And if you were to heat it and try to do a quick infusion in the slow cooker for a day or just heating it up, it does not smell the same because you're burning off the fine volatile oils. And when you do it at room temperature, I don't even do sun infusions, and I'm not against it, but I really just believe in room temperature in the cold, in the dark, I meant to say. And you can smell the difference and you can see the difference. And actually, I'm going to get some more footage. I realize I don't take enough pictures of the process, but the before and after, the herbs before you put them in the oil, and then right when you put them in the oil, and then when you take them out of the oil. And that would be a nice picture to have side by side. And then the oil change color too, the before and after.
That's super interesting. And that's just a really great way to educate people on like, and it makes sense when you think of your own cooking and how certain things change taste, right? When you cook them, or, you know, what heat does to things. So that's really interesting.
And I guess the number one way that like you can definitely tell is through smell, because unless you were a scientist or chemist and looking into the molecules, it's very obvious for anyone to tell by smell, sight and smell. And that's what we do with herbs. That's how we can tell if herbs are viable and good. Like even if it's your mint or something, if your mint's brown, then you want fresher mint.
You want fresher mint.
If it doesn't smell like strong mint, then it's not the best. So that's something that herbalists always look for, is scent, the way it looks and the way it smells.
Well, scent is one of it might be the most powerful of our senses, I've read. And it also is linked to memory. And so you must have a lot of nostalgia and memory connected to certain herbs. I mean, especially if you grew up with them, which is also pretty interesting. All right, but let's talk about, you talked about a lot of interesting products. And I just want to know, like, where do you get your inspiration to make? I mean, are these all from your personal experience? Like the tooth thing, right? Like that, some of them are more obvious and more mainstream, and some are maybe not, but yeah, how do you find your inspiration?
Well, I like that you brought up the tooth thing, because I was having a toothache problem. And that's how I came
That one was personal. That was literally you trying to solve your own problem. Okay.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, people need this. It works so good. And it was Spilanthes, and it's this, it looks like a strawberry, and but it's not. And if you take a little bite into it, it makes your whole mouth completely numb. And you'll start salivating and you can't feel anything. And it's a herb and it's not harmful. And so I dried it and blended it up. And anyways, so that's how that one came about. But mostly they came about from making things that I loved so much. The toothache pulses, I don't know what I was thinking with that, but I just thought people needed it. But yeah, like making something that I feel like I want the world to have.
Do you care like what's on trend? Do you look at competitors? Like, does that even on your radar, or is this more from your own like love of just making things?
No, I'm not. I never know what's on trend. And luckily I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she's totally helped me. She obviously hasn't always been 17. So lately she's helped me with trendy stuff and even like social media. But I've never been focused on that or even really hip to what's going on. But I have to say, she's the one who came up with the coconut milk bath. And I was doing the bath salts, and she's all, milk baths are really trendy right now.
Okay, that's fascinating, because I have an 18-year-old daughter. And my daughter does the same thing with me. So, somebody's got to tell us what to do on TikTok, right? I mean, I can't do it. So that's actually brilliant. So do you ever go to, like trade shows and stuff? I'm just asking because I was at Cosme Tokyo in 2019, which was fascinating, but they had such interesting ingredients that I had no idea. I had never heard. Some of the most weirdest things, not best things, but weirdest things were horse oil, which I was kind of grossed out by, and placenta, which I was also kind of grossed out by. And the placenta was drinkable.
Oh wow. What from what though?
Pig,
Ew.
right? And I tried it and it
Wow.
tasted like strawberries, but bizarre. And I'm thinking like this is the stuff that's like cutting edge, right? Coming out of Asia and stuff. Um, but not everything, not every trend is a good one. Maybe that's why it's better to ignore them.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite product? Like if you had to choose one that was your all-time, just you just love it, what would it be?
The salve. The salve would be the one if I had to go to an island, they said you can only bring one product, it'd have to
Yeah.
be the salve because it's the thing that I can't live without. And like I use it all the time for chapped lips or mosquito bite, or if I get a cold sore. And actually, the thieves oil we make prevents cold sores. So if you notice that you're getting a cold sore, you can put it on literally every half an hour. It's kind of crazy. You just like constantly put it on. But for people who get cold sores, it's worth it to put something on your lip every half an hour, and it
Yeah.
will literally go away before it comes out. You have to catch it at the first sign, like when it's still tingling and before it's exposed.
So the interesting thing is a couple of your examples, you're almost like borderline medicine, not so your wellness definition is not just like feel good and indulge and take a bath, but it's also like actually helping people fix stuff.
Yeah.
No, which is super
Right.
cool. Because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of brands don't go that deep, right? They're more surface, right? They're more like, oh, it just feels good to put on this lotion, but you're like, no, it's going to actually help your muscles, or it's not going to actually fix your mosquito bite, or it's so. I think that's a really interesting differentiation for you that I don't see in a lot of brands, and that idea of like products that actually work. That's also pretty interesting because it's more tangible when you're fixing something. I think like it works if you're putting the stuff on your tooth and your tooth stops hurting. Do you know what I mean? Like that's very clear. If you put it on your cold sore and your cold sore goes away, like that's super like wow, that actually whereas a lot of other, beauty products, you really have no idea. I
Yeah.
mean, you're doing it on faith, right? You're taking something and you're hoping that it does something and you don't really know. So I think that's
But
really, really interesting.
it's really hard to educate. It's really hard to get the message because it's so much to say, and if
Mm.
you wrote it all down, it'd be too much to read. You wouldn't even attempt to read it. So
Yeah.
it's hard to deliver the message. I felt like we've got it pretty good with the salve. There's so many salves, and there are so many amazing salves. I'm not the only one with an amazing salve out there. Um,
Yeah.
and And another thing I really want to talk about is the honey face scrub because it's
Yeah.
actually not one of our best sellers, but the people who use it like swear by it. People have used it for years and they tell all their friends and their friends use it. So it's literally, it goes like that way where like someone has to use it to love it, but people don't tend to buy it. Out of all my things at an event or at the stores, for some reason they don't pick it unless someone tells them they love it. I think that's the thing with selling skincare. I think it's a difficult thing to sell because it's expensive and you don't know unless someone's there telling you, oh my gosh, you have to get that, it's amazing. So it's one of our harder things to sell, but the people who use it love it. And I want to get you one to try because it's really amazing. And it's great to use honey on your face or on your skin anywhere. You could put it directly on a burn, sunburn, or any type of burn. I'm actually going to post an article, um, maybe I think next week. I post an article a week on my website, and I'm going to do one on honey. Or I'm working on one on honey right now. Um, so actually, I'm working with someone else, and we kind of give. I give the research, and she puts it together, and vice versa. So I don't have to do all the legwork, but to be honest. But what was I going to say about using the honey on your face? It's just the honey in itself is exfoliating, and then we add colloidal oats and poppy seeds and ground almonds and rose. It makes your face feel so smooth and rejuvenated.
So I imagine your products all smell amazing too. Is the scent all from these blends of things that you're putting in, or do you add any other essential oils?
So we add essential oils in a few things. The honey face scrub, we don't. Also, we use raw local honey. It's really important to use sustainable honey all the time because otherwise it's diminishing our bees.
Yeah.
But we use pineapple isolate, which is a pretty cool thing. It's like the smell and flavor of the pineapple. It's edible. It's kind of what you'd make pineapple ice cream out of. And we use that and there's also benefits from that. We use that in our vitamin C serum, and we have a pineapple rose bath salts. And then
awesome.
Yeah, and then the rose is a rose absolute. So we use really high quality scents when we do use them. And I'm trying to think. We use a tiny bit of lavender. Well, yeah, we use a little bit of lavender in our youthful eyes. But and then thieves oil is cinnamon, clove, lemon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. It's 5 essential oils, and it's an ancient blend. Most people know of or kind of heard of it from Young Living, and they actually patent the name. So you can't call it thieves oil, which is bizarre because it's an ancient blend from the 15th century. So we call ours oil of thieves, and we use that oil blend in our healing salve. And that blend is antiseptic, antiviral, and antibacterial. So it's really great to use in the ointment. And even though that sounds like it might be painful for a burn, it's actually amazingly healing for a burn. It's not too strong, and it's definitely not a high concentration of the essential oils compared to the salve. And when you smell the salve, it's hard to even pinpoint what the smell is. And we use a really high quality beeswax that's unfiltered. And so you really pick up on the beeswax. It has like the propolis and stuff in there.
Oh my God, it smells amazing. So what got you into the CBD side? You haven't always done that, right? Because that's a newer thing.
Yeah. So it's been around for a long time, but it was just not accessible or known about as much. And I actually live in the Emerald Triangle, which is like the cannabis capital. It used to be of the United States, and it's not anymore. Wow. But anyways, so it was cannabis at first, and then it was just kind of. At first, I just made it for friends and family, and I just cold infused cannabis with 8 other herbs, and then over time. So that was never something, because that was before it was even legalized to have in topicals. So it's funny talking about it now. I always just kind of leave that part out unless it's asked. It's not a big deal. It's fine. Yeah. So then as soon as it was accessible to get the CBD, we did that. And at first we had to infuse flower the same way that I told you we do the cold infusion. But over time we got access to all these other things, and then we use distillate. So actually the only thing that's ever changed about the salve from the beginning was the going from cannabis to hemp, and then the different forms of extraction where we would do a cold infusion, and then we'd use a distillate, and then we started using water soluble a couple years ago. And water soluble is definitely the way to go for skincare because it absorbs through the dermal layers of the skin so easily because it's a really fine molecule. It's about, I've read, I think it's 5 times more bioavailable. So it works really quickly. And normally I tell people that they feel the effects of the salve within like 20 minutes, and they put the salve on and they come like, I'll see people walk away after trying it and they turn around and walk right back. Like it's almost instant. It's crazy how fast the water soluble penetrates the skin.
That's super cool. Interesting. Well, this has been fascinating. I feel like you've got so much knowledge and so much interesting things going on. What's next for you?
I don't really know. I'm trying to fill it out. Like we have a store in Ukiah and our store's been really dead. And the economy, I don't really know what's happening with the economy. I'm just being honest right now.
Yeah.
So we're definitely trying to go more like the spa route, which is funny because like you said, it's kind of more of an alternative medicine type of thing maybe, but it is really great products. And we have spa related stuff. The honey face scrub I feel is really spa, and
Yeah.
everyone has aches and pains and can use salve. And we have the vitamin C serum and we have a massage oil. So we're actually going to do a event. It's like kind of like a trade show for spas in Maui, which will be fun in December with Live Love Spa.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah. So I'm honestly not sure. Like there's always products that I want to add, but I'm not even going to mention any because nothing's solid right now.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's a weird time, right? It's like we just got through, well, we're not through it, but COVID was definitely a big wrinkle. And then it seems like there's always something. Now we've got the recession looming.
Yeah.
But look, I love your products. And for anyone out there, you can get them at the Conscious Beauty Collective. We're there for another week in San Francisco at Stonestown Galleria. So yeah.
And is there a big sale going on?
Yep, big sale. I think we're 25% off. And there's actually a wellness event tomorrow at Stonestown Galleria, which is pretty cool, which we're part of. And so, yeah, I think definitely check out the bath salts, which are amazing. And you can find your products online. And the site is mamasmedicinals.com, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Which I'll put in the notes. And thank you for joining. It was great to learn more.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is
Have a
awesome.
great day.
Thanks. You too.